I wrote a book called Civilization to answer the question of why the West had become so dominant after around 1500. And I came to the conclusion that it wasn't the things that people usually say. People often say imperialism was the reason. And this is a very common argument that you will still hear in many universities. Unfortunately, it can't be right because everybody did empire. In fact, the Europeans were quite late to establish empires. And when they traveled to the Americas or to Asia or even to Africa, they encountered existing empires already there. So if empire was the key, then it would have been the East that dominated the world, not the West. So that idea is out. If you'd asked somebody this question 100 years ago, they might very well have said it was because white people were superior to everybody else. But that's turned out to be wrong, and we know that's wrong now. So that idea you can reject. Then there's the theory that it's geography. And that it's just something about being in Western Europe and North America that gives you an advantage over everybody else. But if that's so, then why did it not happen before 1500? It's not like the geography suddenly changed in 1500, so I'm afraid the geography hypothesis has to go out the window. When you get rid of those theories, you're left, I think, with the insight that a combination of ideas and institutions gave Western societies a big advantage once they had developed. And in the book, I offer 6 ideas and institutions. I call them the killer apps or killer applications of Western civilization to try to answer the question. So number 1, just the idea of competition, the notion that it's okay to compete politically and economically. This is quite a novel idea when it arose in medieval England, that there shouldn't be monopolies on power, that there could be a corporation in the City of London that ran the merchant community's affairs more or less autonomously. So that would be 1. 2, I think the rule of law based on private property rights, that particular model of legal order turned out to be very powerful and superior to others, like, say, Sharia law, the Islamic law code. Thirdly, the scientific revolution. I mean, this is a dramatic change beginning in around the 16th century in the way that human beings think about the natural world, and it almost exclusively happened in Western Europe, with almost no contributions from anywhere else. Then you'd also have to add 3 more. Modern medicine, which doubles and then trebles life expectancy, again almost exclusively a Western innovation. The consumer society. Why bother having an industrial revolution if you're not really going to buy a lot more clothes when clothes get cheaper, which is one of the things an industrial revolution does? And finally, the work ethic, this thing which Max Weber 100 years ago thought was very peculiar to Protestants. And indeed, 100 years ago, it did seem that people in Northern Europe and North America worked harder than people elsewhere. But, and this is the crucial point, those 6 things which were essentially invented in the West were not monopolized forever by Western societies, but from around about the late 19th century began to be copied by non-Western societies, beginning with Japan. The point I'm making in this argument is that these ideas and institutions are universally applicable. They're open source. Any society can download these ideas and institutions. And in our time, more and more societies have. So once you combine those 6 things, competition, the rule of law based on private property rights, the scientific revolution, modern medicine, the consumer society, and the work ethic, you combine those things, any country, any society will achieve prosperity, will achieve economic growth, and will achieve a level of political stability that would otherwise not be possible.